So now, to further understand those topics that were mentioned earlier, we're going to implement those topics here in our video demonstration. So in this demonstration, I am going to show you on how to create a view, second a trigger, and lastly the stored procedures. So first, we'll be going to demonstrate here on how to create a view. Okay. So here we have our example table. I mean the employees table. So as you may all know that views are a result of an SQL query. So here we solve this. So that is the result of an SQL query. So based on our query, depends. And views are virtual table. It is not a real table. It doesn't have a tangible property since it is virtual. So if I am, for instance, if I am tasked to create an employee list with this first name and last name, since it's employee list, instead of creating another table which is similar to this table, I would preferably use view or create a view out of these two to avoid data redundancy. Because if I were to create another table and then I will there are some changes to make, those changes should be applied to those two tables since they are similar in kind. So that is a hassle for me. So instead of doing that, I will just create a view out of these two, so that if are changes to be made, I will just apply those changes here in our employees table, which is the real table, and those changes reflects in our views. So that is less hassle for me. Now we are going to create a view. So we're going to create view. So employee list as, then we will put our statement here. Select first name, since it is employee list, first name, last name, and last name are crucial here, important. So might as well will include the email. And from from what table? So since employees, so click save. So as you can see, we have created our views here, successfully created. So if I were to click that, it should display the first name, last name, and email. So as you can see, it displays here. So as you can see, it it acts as like a real table. I mean, it behaved like a real table, but it is not a real table. It's just a virtual. Doesn't have the tangible property like this employee table. So we have a view now. So if I were I will demonstrate also that claim that views are up to date. That if I were to impose some changes in this table, which is the real table employees, the views should the changes should reflect in the views. So we were to support that. So we're going to make some changes in the employees table. So for example, okay, this we're going to change this. Ito na lang. Example, I'll just put random stuff. Now as you can see, changes are made, then save. So since I created some changes here, or make some changes here, it should be reflected on the view, since I claim that any changes in the real table is applied also, even though I didn't configure the views. So it should be. Okay, wait guys. Now as you can see, here changes are made. So here, so we will change that back. Wait guys. Edit. We'll bring that back to in order. Bernard Galoy 06@gmail.com. So now changes are made here in our real table, which is the employees table. So it should reflect also in the employee list. Now as you can see, it does. So that confirms it that any changes in the the real table is also applied in the in the view table. So it is less hassle for me now. Now, how are we going to delete or drop this view if we will find it unuseful? So very simple. So first method is that click here the views, and then as you can see here, you can just drop it, then okay, then it will be dropped. Then the second is just type here, you can type it manually. So say drop views. What do you want to drop view, then the name of the view you wanted to drop. So playlist, then hit enter, then it's done. We successfully deleted our view. So that is all for the view. So for our second demonstration, which is the use of triggers, I'm going to show you on how to create triggers in your databases. So using the same example from the previous demonstration, employees. So as you may all know, triggers. So from the word triggers, it does something when something happened. So it does something in response to a certain situation that happened in our databases. So for example, here in our salary, in our hourly pay, they are connected because our salary total, this is the total worth of salary of each employee in a year. So if our hourly pay, if we'll make changes in our hourly pay, ideally the salary should change too, right? Because the salary depends on our hourly pay. So I am going to create a trigger that should calculate this salary automatically, so that we will the changes are automatic. Imagine if this database, so just for the sake of demonstration purposes, I only created 6 columns, 6 rows. So in the real setting, there are thousands or hundreds of values in our database. So triggers are useful so that we won't need to manually calculate the salary of each of this employee. So we'll just use the trigger in order for our databases to be dynamically good or tight. So So if there is changes in our hourly pay, our database should automatically calculate also the salary using triggers. So now, how to create trigger? First, create trigger, then the name, or should we say the variable name for hourly pay is updated, so it will update. Okay, then so the keyword here is before, since we would want to execute the trigger before an update is occurred. So update on, okay, on what table? So employees. Then we will use this for each row. Purpose of this is that we might update multiple, or in other words, we will be just not updating one row. There are cases that we will update multiple row, so we need to use this. And then set the salary equals hourly pay multiplied by 2080. So why is it 2080? So I'm going to show you here why is it 2080. So typically there are 5 working days, and then in a day we work a minimum of 8 hours. So if you multiply 5 by 8, yields to 40. So 40 working hours in a week. And then we will now get the how many weeks, how many hours in a weeks. I mean in a year. I mean, so in a year there are 52 weeks. So if you multiply 40 times 52, you'll get 2080. So that's how you calculate the whole year worth of salary of an employee. So okay, we forgot something. We will need also to put a prefix here, new, in the new salary and the new hourly pay, so that before update, the old salary is updated with the new salary, and also the new hourly pay is updated, since this will be our key here. So if the new hourly pay is updated, so does the new new hourly pay is updated, so does the new salary. So we need to use that prefix new, so that the Mysql can distinguish between those values. Okay, save. Now we successfully created our trigger here. So now we'll check if our trigger. Show trigger. Sorry. So we'll just use this. Here we have our, this is where we can browse our trigger. So as you can see, we have a trigger here. So now we are going to update changes here in our hourly pay, since these are the two which we put our triggers specifically. So okay, you can just alter here by the table, or here, so alter. So update table employees, then we would set the hourly pay equals we will raise the hourly pay of our what to raise okay, our manager, instead of 81.25 should raise him to 81.75. It's a lot of raising. Then next we will specify where to make that changes. So we'll use our employee ID as is the ideal in making changes. Employee ID equals 3, so it should okay. Then we're going to display all from employees. Now here, so we will expect that our manager will be given a raise of 81.75. So from 81.25 it should be 81.75, and the salary will also change. So to test if the trigger would work, so enter. Okay, there's an error. Wait, we'll fix that error. Update employees, set hourly pay because I'm sorry here. So as you can see, the update takes effect. So as you can see in our query, we didn't update the salary. We only updated the hourly pay, which is 81.75, and yet the salary is changed automatically without configuring it. You just configure the hourly pay I mean. So that's the trigger for you. So another example, we will update it again, update the table employees, and then we will set hourly pay equals current hourly pay plus 1. So then we will going to display select all from employees. So ideally the employees hourly pay is raised by 1, so should be expecting some great results here. So as you can see, from 81.75 it became 82, as well as 43.75 became 44. So as the query here sets as hourly pay the current hourly pay plus 1, so the salary also changed. Our trigger does its work actually. So that's all for the trigger. Wait, we will also how to drop or delete our trigger. So first method is here. You can just go to triggers and then click the button drop, or we can also, like previously, we can just type here drop what to drop triggers, then the name of the trigger before hourly pay update. So do you really want to drop the trigger? So okay, so we successfully drop our triggers here. So check here. There's no trigger since we dropped it already. So it's up to you if what method you'll use. Regardless, it's still able to produce the same results. That's all for the trigger. Now for our third and last demonstration, which is the stored procedures. So here I am going to show you on how to create stored procedures in your databases. So using the same table, the employees table, we are going to create a stored procedures. So as you may all know, a stored procedure is a prepared SQL code which you can use later. It is helpful, especially if you write this code often. So, example, if you always get this ID or your first name, you can use stored procedure and store that SQL code so that you can just call that stored procedure to avoid lengthy typing, and it is less hassle for me and for you also. So let's do this, guys. Let's create stored procedure. So here type the word create procedure and then name of the procedure. So let's call it find employee. Then we'll use the word begin, then put it at the end. It's just like so for clarity I will use the tab. So here you can put your SQL code here. So select all select first name, then last name, email, then from what table. Since I didn't use all, so I should use this plus from. So from employees table. So okay, there's an error. So let's solve that. It gives an error because as you can see, we have two delimiter here. Our SQL only reads this from this line. Emphasis that this statement has ended here in this line 4 because of the delimiter. So what are we going to do here is we will set the delimiter temporarily, and then we're also going to put it back at the end. So I'll explain it. So delimiter here becomes, this will be our new delimiter. So in order that if it reads here, it won't end, it will end here, and then after that the delimiter will be back to normal again. So that's all. So if I will execute this now, we have created our procedure successfully. So you can view that here or here. As you can see, there's a stored procedure here just created earlier. So how to call it or how to invoke that stored procedure. So in order to invoke that procedure, you can just type the word the command call, then the name of the procedure you want to call, find employees. It's just like the method, no? Calling a method, simple as that. So call find employees. So ideally it should display the first name, last name, and email of the employees. So here, instead of typing this, you can just type the stored procedure you created. So it's very helpful, right? So now we are going to create another procedure. This time we will we'll put parameter in our stored procedure as it is accepted. Create procedure. So find employees by ID. So we will find employees through ID. So since it is parameterized, so I will put parameter here. So you just type the word command in, then the parameter name. So since ID, I will just put ID here, and then the data type, so it should be int since it's ID. Then type the word begin, then end, then you can put your SQL code here. So select all all from employees, then where we will use the where clause. So we will use the employee ID as it is suitable for changes or searching. So equals ID, so that it will be dynamically, so that your SQL code will be dynamic. So whatever you type in here, it will so if you type here 1 or 2 or 3, then it will automatically read that as what you type here. So that's very helpful, no? Then end, as said earlier, that we need to change the delimiter a bit, then bring it back later. So that's our sort of procedure. So if we save it, okay, that should do it. Now we have our second procedure. So see here, so as you can see, there's our second procedure, find employees by ID. So you can view it here. So here, now we will call that procedure. So call what procedure you want to call, the name of it. So find employees by ID. Then since it parameterized, so you need to put something here. So since it's single parameter, so we can just, since we specified that it is finding employees through ID, so we should put here number from 1 to 6, since we only have 6 data. So if I type 1, should now it's right here, we fetch the data of employee ID number 1, first name Arsid, so that's correct. So another, if we'll put 2 here, as you can see, it redirects us to the employee ID number 2, which is Jalil Keke. So as you can see, it is dynamic. So what if I will put a number here? So as you may all know, the number is from 1 to 6 only, 6. So if I will put 7 here, it shouldn't display something. As you can see, it doesn't display something. And also, that's that's considered an error because we still give an int. 7 is a number, it's an considerable int. So if we type here characters, that should do an error, since our data type is int. G is not a data type of int, it's a string or characters. So that's all for our for the stored procedures. So now how to delete or drop that stored procedure. First method is you can just go to routine, then here you can just drop, select the word drop, then it will drop, it will be deleted. Or if you can type it manually, so drop procedure, then find the name of the procedure you want to drop. So find employee, wait, just to be sure, employees ID, then so do you really want to execute drop? So yes, that's the method of dropping a procedure. So it's up to you if what will you use. It's either this or that manual. Either way, it will yield the same result as dropping a stored procedure. So that's all for the stored procedure, guys. Thank you for watching.